What if I told you that one man built the biggest land empire in history and that his wars changed the lives of millions of people across the world? Not in a movie. Not in a video game. In real life. His name was Genghis Khan. And here's the part that might surprise you the most: he didn't start as a king. He started as a scared, hungry boy who had almost nothing. By the end of this story, you'll understand how a child named Temujin grew up to lead an empire so big it stretched across 2 continents and why people still talk about him more than 800 years later. Long before he was called Genghis Khan, his real name was Temujin. He was born around the year 1162 in the wide grasslands of Mongolia. Imagine endless fields, strong winds, and people who live in tents called yurts and ride horses almost every day. Temujin's father was a tribal leader. That sounds important, right? But when Temujin was still young, his father was poisoned by enemies. Suddenly, everything changed. Instead of helping the family, the tribe decided they didn't want to support them anymore. Temujin, his mother, and his brothers and sisters were left alone to survive. No army. No protection. Very little food. They had to hunt small animals, gather plants, and work together just to stay alive. Winters were freezing. Enemies were nearby. Life was dangerous. But here's something important: hard times can either break a person or make them stronger. For Temujin, it made him tougher. As he grew up, he learned how to ride horses extremely well. He learned how to use a bow and arrow. He learned how to think carefully about who he could trust. The world around him was full of fighting tribes. Different groups battled each other for land, animals, and power. It was normal back then. Temujin decided he didn't just want to survive. He wanted to unite the tribes. Now this is where he did something very smart. Most leaders at the time chose helpers from their own family. If you were born into the right family, you got power. Temujin did something different. He chose people based on skill and loyalty. If you were brave and did your job well, you could move up even if you were born poor. That made people believe in him. Warriors joined him not just because they had to, but because they wanted to. Over time, Temujin defeated rival tribes one by one. Sometimes he made alliances. Sometimes he fought battles. Slowly, he brought many tribes together under one rule. When he finally united most of the Mongol tribes, he was given a new name, Genghis Khan. Khan means ruler. So he became the ruler of the Mongols. Now let's talk about why his army was so powerful. First, they were incredible horse riders. Mongol children learned to ride almost as soon as they could walk. Their horses were strong and could travel long distances without getting tired. Second, they were amazing archers. Imagine shooting arrows accurately while riding fast across a field. That takes serious skill. Third, they were fast. Most armies at the time moved slowly with heavy equipment. The Mongols traveled light. They carried dried meat and used several horses per soldier, switching between them to stay fresh. This meant they could travel farther and faster than almost anyone. But speed wasn't their only weapon. They also used fear. When Genghis Khan's army approached a city, he often sent a message: surrender peacefully and join the Mongol Empire, or fight and risk destruction. Some cities surrendered right away. Others chose to fight. When cities fought and lost, the Mongols were often very harsh. Many people were killed, and the city could be destroyed. News of this spread quickly. Soon, other cities surrendered without fighting because they were too afraid. Historians believe the Mongol conquests caused millions of deaths. Some estimates say around 40 million people may have died during the wars connected to the Mongol Empire. At that time, the world's population was much smaller than today, so that was a very large percentage. It's important to understand that the world in the 1200s was very different. Many empires fought wars and used violence. Genghis Khan was not the only leader doing this. But he was extremely organized and effective. One famous story involves the Khwarezmian Empire. Genghis Khan first tried to trade peacefully with them. He sent merchants and messengers. But the ruler of that empire mistreated them and even killed some of the traders. Genghis Khan saw this as a serious insult. He responded by sending his army. The invasion was powerful and devastating. Major cities fell, and the empire collapsed. This showed other rulers that the Mongols were not to be taken lightly. But here's the twist in the story. After conquering huge areas from China to parts of Europe, the Mongol Empire actually made trade safer across these lands. There was a time called the Pax Mongolica, which means Mongol peace. During this time, important trade routes like the Silk Road were protected. Merchants could travel more safely. Goods like silk, spices, and inventions moved between East and West. Ideas traveled too. Technology, medicine, and knowledge spread across continents. In some ways, the Mongol Empire helped connect different parts of the world more than ever before. Genghis Khan also created a fast messenger system. Riders carried messages across long distances using relay stations. It was like an early version of a postal service. So his empire was not just about war. It also changed trade, communication, and connections between cultures. Here's another amazing fact. Scientists believe that today, about 1 in 200 men may share a common ancestor linked to Genghis Khan. That's because he had many children, and his descendants continued to rule large regions. His family line spread widely across Asia. So how should we think about Genghis Khan? He was a strong leader who united tribes and built the largest land empire in history. He was also responsible for wars that caused enormous suffering. History is not always simple. Some leaders do impressive things while also causing great harm. Genghis Khan began life as a poor, abandoned boy struggling to survive. Through determination, strategy, and powerful leadership, he rose to change the world forever. Whether people see him as a hero, a conqueror, or a warning from history, one thing is clear. His story shows how much one determined person can shape the world for better and for worse. If you enjoyed learning history explained in a clear and simple way, make sure to like and subscribe. In the next video, we'll explore what happened after Genghis Khan died and how such a massive empire eventually began to fall apart.